The end. A realm of darkness and nothingness, full of mystery and unusual life. I've talked in great detail about the end and its inhabitants on this channel, their contributions to the Minecraft universe, as well as their most fascinating abilities and what they suggest about their very nature. And yet, I think there's still far more to cover. So in this video, let's clarify some things and understand the relationships between some of these different creatures and how they view each other. From the Enderman to the Ender Dragon and the other beings of this dark dimension, all to paint a picture of what's happening here and how significant the Free the End achievement actually is. Now, let us begin. If you enjoy this video, then like and subscribe to help my channel grow so I can continue to make more videos like this one. Thank you. A variety of strange and unusual beings reside in Minecraft's endless void. Shulkers, strange mollusk-like creatures, guard the structures of this dimension, like the End Cities and the Citadel. Never found among the plants or within the trees, nor the ruins of old, only the buildings of present. Pests like the Endermites also make themselves at home among the starry environment, lurking among the void blocks and liquid, slithering among the wilds of the end, and perhaps within the other voidic inhabitants as well. The people themselves are tall and strong, each with power of their own, some more out there than the others. They roam all about, with hubs of civilization dotting their world. Vast, towering cities and spires make up their homes. Their furniture is just as tall as they are. But they aren't the only intelligent creatures at the end. Beasts of even more immense size originate from the powers that lie here, beings such as the Ender Dragon or the Heart of Ender, the latter being a calculating individual of great power, with an entire canon novel being written, which happens to feature its various plots and schemes, the former holding a position and territory in a manner not quite akin to any animal, despite what its appearance may lead you to believe. What they are is often a big topic of discussion, but today I'm not so interested in that right now. I've already talked about Shulkers, the Enderman, the Heart of Ender, and more in my other videos. But their relationships with one another? I believe that can tell us much about the complexities of the End, its society, as well as its past and present. First, however, we should start off simple with the Endermite. Truly, this is the mob of all time. Honestly, there's quite a lot that could be said about this rather silly little slug bug thing. I do plan on making a video covering them on their own, but for now, let's overview what's made clearest to us. The Endermen hate it. In Minecraft, they'll attack them on sight. They are very much a pest in the end. They traverse the landscapes and infest the wilds and ruins, dropping on top of you and crawling out of the pools of void liquid that litter the End's environments. It's no wonder that Endermen hate them, especially when you consider that they're more likely than not actual parasites. Their pearls, a real type of crystalline structure produced as a defense mechanism by mollusks to eliminate parasites and irritants, can occasionally release an endermite upon impact. Likely, the creature had been trapped within the ender pearl by the enderman, just as clams do with their own parasites. And it seems that not even the Heart of Ender is safe from them, with it occasionally shaking numerous endermites off and out of its body during Minecraft Dungeon's final fight. It's safe to say that no one particularly likes endermites. Neither the Enderman, the Heart of Ender, or even the player base. I wouldn't be surprised if the Ender Dragon held a certain disdain for them too. However, it does seem that some people in the Minecraft universe do appreciate them enough to keep them as pets, such as this one from Minecraft Dungeons. It's surprisingly friendly, even being referred to as the Friendermite in the files. A rather fun touch from the developers, I'd say. Shulkers are another interesting but relatively simple case. They don't seem to exactly be animals as much as magical constructs of sorts. I actually covered this idea in great depth in a previous video, where I talked all about the shulkers. Go and check that one out if you'd like. In short, though, I believe them to be golems, made of endstone and purpur, and imbued with voidic magic. They're never found in the wilds. Not in the trees, among the plants, or anywhere particularly outside a structure. Instead, they're only found within end cities, as well as the end docks and citadel of Minecraft dungeons, all being places of civilization inhabited by Endermen. In fact, they're often placed strategically outside of doorways or upon their own pedestals and podiums. Their projectiles are even referred to as bullets, the projectiles of firearms and weapons of war. The designs of their shells, from their opening seams to the borders, are of a meander or fret, an artistic repeating pattern often seen in the ancient world. I doubt that the spire armor trim, for example, was made in the image of shulkers. Instead, I think it was the other way around. Shulkers are golems of the Endermen, and the patterns they appear with are intentionally carved with symbols relating to their own culture. Nonetheless, the shulkers being golems puts their perception and position among the other beings of the End in a unique but ultimately clear-cut place. Golems are tools more than anything, and would be seen as such by the Endermen, the Heart of Ender, and likely the Ender Dragon as well. They guard the cities, but also act as utility, activating doorways and lifts with their bullets, in a manner almost akin to the potential use cases the copper golem from the 2021 mob vote might have provided. Although it's a bit more outright interesting. Less of a button pusher and more of a platform mover. I'd like to see something like these mechanics brought into the original game, though I'm unsure how they would be implemented. Perhaps similarly to the flotator from the Poisonous Potato April Fool's update. Still, their defensive and utilitarian capabilities no doubt make them a valuable and convenient asset among the End's architecture, a notion made more evident by their immense utilization among their different structures. But again, I doubt they're often thought about as more than their use cases, unless there's an Enderman out there that also keeps one as a pet, which is a rather amusing thought, I think. Speaking of which, let's get into the more interesting creatures that the End has to offer. Starting off with the Endermen, these towering giants make up the civilization of this world. They've built great cities, impressive ships, and an immense fortress surrounding the center of the End. From what we can see in dungeons, they are a united people. Few to no signs of division can be found among their ranks. The different Enderlings fight together among their structures alongside the Endermen and Endersent. In fact, the Endersent can even call upon the Watchlings to their side when the situation becomes more dire. With their telepathic ability, something I've touched upon in this video, their coordination in battle is almost unmatched. This is especially prevalent with the Snarelings, who can call upon one another to overwhelm their target with a flurry of attacks. Their unity can even be seen with their banners. While ultimately unused, the various Endermen are represented with their banners depicting their violet eyes. But one of the banners depicts yellow-green eyes instead, as well as a frown, a visage only seen with the Snarelings, which, funnily enough, did actually make it into the game. They seem to care enough about each other to produce these works representing one of their own, alongside what would have broadly worked to depict most of them. It's actually a rather nice thought, despite the otherwise frightening appearances many of them have. The unity and collaboration they display doesn't just stop at the End, however. During the events of Minecraft Dungeons Echoing Void DLC, 6 Endersent removed the Eyes of Ender from the End portal before scattering across the overworld. However, they're not alone. The paths to their lairs are guarded by Endermen, and even the Watchlings come to the Endersent's aid, even in the overworld. To be quite honest, the Endermen as a civilization seem to be the most united out of any across the various dimensions we've encountered so far. They work together, they come to assist each other, and they put up a variety of banners to represent each of their own. But what do the other creatures of the End think of them? How do they feel about the Endermen? In the Endermites' case, it's as simple as you might imagine. As for the shulkers, golems usually seem to be rather neutral towards their creators, such as with the redstone golems, which blankly follow the Arch-Illager's whims for the most part, as seen in the Minecraft Dungeons novel. At most, they may feel a slight sense of affection for them, such as with the iron golems, who are known to hand out poppies to villager children before going back to their duties. Then again, this behavior might be due to the villagers' largely peaceful approach to life. There are people who value community and harmony to bring about a common good for the village. The Iron Golem's behavior may reflect their ideals, being made to be caring in more ways than one. Shulkers, however, exhibit very little affectionate behaviors. If anything, they actually seem to be in a constant grumpy mood. Their sounds are rather aggressive, and they mainly lurk within their shells in a very asocial manner. They seem largely neutral to Endermen, if not somewhat discontent, though more likely at everything in general rather than Endermen in particular. Their personality does appear to make some sense, though. Their name is a combination of the words shell and lurker. They're built to blend into the purpose structures of the End, so it wouldn't suit the shulkers to be very social or outgoing creatures. The Ender Dragon and Heart of Ender are very interesting cases, however. In order to understand them and how they view the Endermen, it's best that we dive into more detail with them individually. Their relationships are a complicated one, to say the least. The Ender Dragon is the final boss of the original game. It's a fearsome beast, full of rage and lots of spit. I know a good amount of you have suggested that I cover what exactly this thing is, but this video won't go over that. Not in detail, at least. I feel that the Ender Dragon is interesting enough to have a whole video dedicated to it. So for this one, I'll simply focus on who it is rather than what it is. The exact nature of this creature will have to remain a mystery for now. While one might initially assume the Ender Dragon to simply be some kind of animal of sorts, further insight may indicate otherwise. While the end of the original game has yet to be updated, Minecraft Dungeons shows us the End in a whole new light. A lot of you might not even know this, but in Dungeons, we actually travel to the End's central island. When entering the End portal, it doesn't take you right to the middle of everything. Instead, you pop into the outer islands of the End Wilds, with the goal of reaching an End gateway to progress through your journey. The Exploring the End Wilds article published by Minecraft also says as much, stating, "The goal of this Echoing Void mission is to find an End gateway that will take you closer to the core of the dimension." The core of the dimension. Not further out, but closer to the End center. The narration at the beginning of the Broken Citadel level even alludes to this, with the narrator saying,
"You fought bravely to the very heart of the void."
And the level description also stating, "You've reached the very heart of the void." The Broken Citadel level takes place within the center of the End. That's why we had to use an End gateway to reach here. It's also why, at the very end of the level, in the deepest reaches of the Citadel, you'll find the Exit Portal, a structure that is only found in the central island, where the Ender Dragon resides. If the Ender Dragon dwells within such a grand location as the Citadel, there may be more to its role in the End's hierarchy than its beast-like appearance may initially let on. Especially since the central area found right before the exit portal is referred to by one of the core objectives as the capital. Capitals are the most important locations within a country. They're often the seat of a nation's government. And again, if the Ender Dragon is meant to dwell within this area in the original game, there's no doubt that it holds a special position among the End society, the position of a ruler. Surprisingly, this could actually explain some things in relation to the dragon heads found on the end ships. They don't seem to be true heads, as the bodies of all Ender mobs fade away upon their deaths. From the Endermen, the Endersent, to the Heart of Ender, and even the Ender Dragon itself. More than anything, these heads may simply be decorations, meant to showcase the Ender Dragon's power and influence over the End as a leader. This is also probably why by the time of dungeons, the End ships no longer don the dragon heads at the end of their bowsprits, as the Ender Dragon no longer has a presence in the dimension. The relationship between the Ender Dragon and the Enderman is likely an uneasy one at best. According to Jens himself in a video covering the Ender Dragon on the official Minecraft YouTube channel,
the Ender Dragon and the Enderman, they are fighting each other. They don't like each other.
When going into the why, he simply states,
"It's a mystery."
So we're not going to be getting any definitive answers from him anytime soon, but I think there's enough to work with to figure out why. As I've stated previously, the Ender Dragon is a ruler of the End. Why would the citizens of a nation dislike their own leaders? Well, it's not exactly a puzzling notion. Typically, this mentality is a result of government officials not fulfilling their duties to the people, and instead preferring to prioritize themselves and their ambitions, usually to the detriment of the average person. The reason that the Endermen don't like the Ender Dragon, then, is because it's a tyrant. Tyrants are cruel and oppressive rulers, which it definitely seems to check out in this case, with the Ender Dragon's position in the End. When asked,
"So what are its defining characteristics?"
Jens answers with,
I would say aggressive.
when describing its core traits. Not exactly the characteristic you'd expect from a kind or benevolent leader. This actually says a lot about the Free the End advancement on Java Edition. You can only obtain this advancement by defeating the Ender Dragon. If defeating this apparent ruler of the End correlates with freeing it, it paints its reign in a very particular light, especially with the Endermen themselves actively fighting it once you arrive, like Jeb said. But what of its relationship with the Heart of Ender? To answer that, let's dive into this creature's own position within the End, as well as its relationship with the Endermen, to see what can be revealed. The Heart of Ender is a mysterious and fascinating individual. Outside of the End, it is known as the Orb of Dominance, only manifesting a proper physical form within its home dimension. It's cunning and astute in its decision-making, manipulating the Arch-Illager to become what he did in Minecraft Dungeons. As I've explained in a previous video, the Heart of Ender is quite literally a heart. The heart of a god, a being fractured long ago due to an unknown event, who I refer to as Ender, hence the name of Heart of Ender. I talked about this a lot more when I covered the Eyes of Ender, so definitely check that one out as well. The rabbit hole goes very deep. With the heart being a fragment of a grander deity, the Endermen are effectively its angels. The different variants all possess some very interesting traits, which draw parallels between them and biblical angelic beings, from numerous eyes, various fiery themes, to the very name of Endersent being a play on the term God-sent. With them being a Minecraft equivalent to angels, many come to the conclusion that they serve the Heart of Ender and consider it to be their master of sorts. Whether under this framework of it being a fragment of a deity or not, it's a common assumption to make. However, it's not so simple. As I've discussed in my video on High Block Castle, the Endermen once had a foothold in the overworld. With the help of the Illagers, they had built and maintained a great force, including within a massive fortress, known as High Block Keep. The Orb of Dominance, the Heart of Ender, held dominion over this place before it fell to ruins, like how Archie finds it in. Being the heart of their god, the Endermen would have certainly followed its lead, with one of them potentially even wielding it like Archie did, becoming its servant and carrying out its will. Eventually, however, the orb would be abandoned to the Hollow Mountain, where old High Block Castle once stood. Why hadn't the Endermen come back for it, though? Their people were still out there, traversing every corner of every world. They would have at least thought to look where High Block Keep once was, wouldn't they? Especially for such an important figure. It's especially notable because in Minecraft Dungeons, Endermen can be found lurking in every main level of the game. For some of them, they may only begin to show up in higher difficulties, but the fact remains that they can be found from Creeper Woods to the very last levels, like High Block Halls and Obsidian Pinnacle, which both take place in High Block Castle. They seem to be very aware of the orb's plots and schemes, but they don't get involved, not even to help it despite what their past suggests they might do. Instead, they keep their distance from the whole situation, almost spying on the happenings of the overworld during the Arch-Illager's war. The Minecraft Dungeons novel, The Rise of the Arch-Illager, makes some interesting points as well, things that could indicate why exactly this is. In Chapter 13, Archie wonders if someone else had once controlled the orb, which leads to more and more questions.
What had happened to them? Why had they abandoned their power? Had they been run off or killed? And who would be powerful enough to have beaten them? And would they be coming back?
No one could ever claim for him.
Archie wondered how the Orb of Dominance could possibly know that for sure.
The orb is confident that no one would be coming back for it, but why would this be? Throughout the novel, this question of why had they abandoned their power comes up multiple times. Chapter 15 of the novel brings it up once more.
You don't really want to waste such power by hiding it away. Power is meant to be used.
Someone had hidden the Orb of Dominance away. Archie knew, but not for what purpose.
There was a reason the Heart of Ender was left behind. There is a reason the Endermen never came back for it until the Illagers had invaded their world. After Archie realizes that he'd never truly been in control of the orb, and that it had been the other way around, he thinks back to the previous wielder of the orb, and what their experience with it might have been like. Chapter 27 illustrates his thoughts, saying,
Archie wondered if someone else had laid claim to the Orb of Dominance before. Had they become its servant as well? If so, how had they managed to free themselves from it? Could he hope to do the same?
No.
Of course it would say that. The real question, he supposed, was this. Once they'd gotten free, why hadn't they destroyed it?
It is impossible.
One thing Archie had learned about the orb, sometimes it lied. And maybe it was lying now.
The interesting thing about this exchange of thoughts is that the orb never denies that this figure had become its servant, nor that they had freed themselves of it, simply that he could never hope for the same. The circumstances, it seems, are different in Archie's case. He is trapped in his position. Stepping down as the leader of the Illagers would be seen as weakness. He'd immediately be the enemy of an empire he helped to create. He has no choice but to serve the orb. Nonetheless, all this contextualizes the orb's past and why it was abandoned. Like the Ender Dragon, it was a tyrant. It's no secret that the orb can be cruel and demanding of respect and allegiance, believing it best to rule through fear. A mindset that's actually discussed and explained in Zatrix's channel, covering the psychology of the Heart of Ender and the experiences that have shaped it. Be sure to check that out. I helped in the research and writing department. Eventually, though, the Endermen had had enough of it, and when presented with the opportunity, left it behind, hidden within a mountain. That's why the orb knew no one was coming back for it. It's why the Endermen never assisted Archie or the orb's endeavors, despite seemingly being aware of what was happening. Even in the end, they don't seem to want much to do with it. The Heart of Ender scurries past them all, and the Endermen are off doing their own thing, trying to handle what they can of the Illagers. And in the final battle against the Vengeful Heart, no Endermen come to its side during the fight. It is, by all means, alone. High Block Castle, as it is now, also clues us in on this. This great fortress is adorned with countless decorations. This includes depictions of the Ender Dragon upon multiple doors, no doubt from the obvious End influence this place has. But what this means is that the Heart of Ender aligns itself with the Ender Dragon, and likely vice versa. In fact, there's even a statue in the beginning of High Block Halls of Archie with the orb posing alongside the Ender Dragon, the creature looking up at them in an almost irreverent manner, as if the Ender Dragon itself is a most loyal ally. The reason that the Endermen hate the Ender Dragon is also the same reason as to why they abandoned the Heart of Ender. The Ender Dragon wasn't always the only ruler of the End, it seems. However, their tyranny ultimately became their downfall. Though these beings are powerful, they can only do so much alone. If what had once been their subjects turned on them, what could they do? Particularly in the Heart's case, being stuck as an orb in the overworld. Although once followers, the Endermen had become jaded and driven against their holy leaders. This is the true meaning of the Free the End advancement. With your help, the Endermen can be truly free at last to find their own path and do as they wish, their way. And there we have it, the relationships between all the mobs of the End, the role of the Ender Dragon, and why the Orb of Dominance was ultimately abandoned. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel if you'd like to see more. And make sure to turn on notifications so you don't miss my future uploads. See you another time. Bye!
What can I say? Subscribe to Wither King. I don't know, you probably are not going to use that for the video, actually. Balls. Orb balls. Heart of balls. Ender balls. Balls of Ender. You're not going to use any of this. You probably think I'm a fucking idiot.